Hey, this is John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at this massive Black Series TIE Fighter from the Force Awakens. Here's a closer look at some of the packaging before we open this bad boy up. Now all the little gack that's kind of coming out of the ends of the panel wings, they're all kind of different. From what I've seen from the package art and photos of TIE Fighters I've seen online, the one with this little long little doodad coming out with that short little silver thing should be, facing forward on the left. But what's interesting is that these wings are identical, so this little long spire that will be facing forward will now be facing back if you put it on the right side, unless you flip it upside down or whatever. I don't know if that really matters to anyone, or if it even really matters which way the wings go, but I'm definitely putting this one forward on the left. As you just saw, the TIE Fighter was really easy to assemble, and once that's plugged in, that rotates, and this up here can rotate. And there's some really nice little details when you get up close and look at this thing, like just like the rivets going along the edge of the windshield of the TIE Fighter, and also just like the general kind of paneling that you see here, going around the edge of the cabin, and the along the inside of the wings here. We'll get a closer look at those in a second, but just like the texture of the panels, you can see this little grid pattern here, and that grid works really well. Also, a little thing that I dig about this is the red that's painted on the side of the TIE Fighter here is kind of distressed. It's not a perfect red. It's got kind of a faded edge there. It's a little bit worn, and I kind of dig that effect. But here, if we go in for a closer look here at the inside of the wings here, see like the little edge there has a little bit of gack on them. It's done to a greater effect on the outside where they've painted little sections of it with silver, and they're not all even, like some are shorter and longer than others, but the overall gack work looks really, really good, and all the little threads that kind of come forward, the little tubings and pipings, look awesome. The back side of the TIE Fighter is cool too, because not only do you see these cool engines and like they're pretty well sculpted, but you can see through this rear windshield into the cockpit and see the control panel inside, so I think that's pretty awesome. Now the cockpit has some really good details in it too. Once you look inside, you can see that there are two seats, one for the pilot and one for the gunner. And if you look in the pilot's area, you can see by the windshield there that there's a sculpted panel with yellow and red and white painted elements, but also to the right and left there are little screens with like black and red, graphics on it. Taking a closer look at the back side of it where the gunner sits, you've got a lot of gack there. We just saw that through the rear windshield with the looks like a little keyboard panel with a lot of painted elements and more screens there on the left. You've got another black screen with red graphics and a lot of gack. Some sort of tool with a handle on the screen right, the gunner's left. But there's a lot of cool detail in there. I dig that. I dig this a lot. And speaking of detail, in the top back section of the cockpit, there's a bunch of like red and yellow paint. Just to give you a context, it's on the back side of where the gunner sits. You might not see that on first glance, but it's a nice little detail that I'm glad they included all that little painted detail on the inner back section of the cockpit. And speaking of the cockpit, this massive vehicle comes with a figure to put in the cockpit. And I gotta say, this TIE Pilot looks awesome. Like, the overall design of him, forget the action figure. As a design, the TIE Pilot looks awesome, especially the red striped one. But as an action figure, the way they executed it, I just think this looks amazing. The general gack on the front with the little piping that leads to the helmet's cool, but I love the contrast of like the shine of the armor against the sculpted cloth underneath the armor. I think like just the wrinkles in the stomach, the wrinkles along the pants all look cool. The boots look awesome. They've got the usual kind of hinge that you come to expect from all these Black Series figure, with the ankle hinge with the swivel, double knee joint, mid-thigh cut, mid-torso cut at the top underneath the armor. You've got the ball hinged shoulder. You've got the ball swivel elbow, the hinge at the wrist that goes side to side for both of these, and then the ball jointed head with the hinge at the base of the neck. And the paint looks really good on this. The paint on the helmet looks good. The contrast of gray against black. The New Order logo looks great. I'm really happy with this. Yeah, sculpt is good. Really well designed. I like the straps that hang down around the belt. The belt itself looks cool too, with the little pouches hanging off it. And yeah, let's just go for a closer look at this mask. I mean, the helmet has a great design to it. I like the silver elements on it. All in all, I'm really happy with how this figure turned out. It comes also with one accessory. It comes with a pistol, which fits really well into its right hand. And the right hand does have like a little index finger separation that allows for it to kind of grip the gun a little bit better than it would with the left grip hand. One thing worth noting is when you're putting the TIE Pilot into the cockpit, that little front section there can kind of get in the way of his like chest and leg area, so you kind of have to maneuver around that. There isn't a lot of room lengthwise for his legs, so you have to bend his legs as much as you can, otherwise his butt won't hit the seat. And if you don't get him in far enough, the seat clamps will try to clamp around the lower belt, which is wider than his waist. Personally, I think this is a giant pain in the ass trying to get this figure to sit in the seat. Now that I got him in there, I think it's pretty cool to get his right hand to be put on that little handle lever thing. Makes it look like he's actually doing something instead of just, you know, sitting in the cockpit. There he is inside the cockpit, and I dig that you can actually see the figure inside the cockpit. I think that's a pretty cool effect. If I have any gripe about this thing, it's this. The wings are a little wobbly. Not like dangerous wobbly, but just like the fact that you snap them on. I was hoping the snaps would be a little sturdier, but as it is, you do see a little bit of wiggle to them. But once you place it on a hard surface, they do hold really well. Like, they don't have this odd wiggle to them that makes me nervous about it standing up. Like, if I shake it now, you see it. But the wings are made of a really durable material. Like, it's a really strong plastic. In fact, this vehicle as a whole is like really like hefty. Like, it's got a strong weight to it. Like, when you hold it, it's not, doesn't feel like totally cheap plastic. It feels sturdy. And I like this TIE Fighter a lot. Like, it's huge, and that's cool. It's to scale with the 6-inch figures of the Black Series, and the details on it are really nice. It's a massive vehicle, so that makes it kind of fun to like run around the house and play with. Not like I play with my toys, you know, as an adult collector, they're just collectibles, but you know what I mean. This thing is awesome. The figure that comes with it is awesome, and if you can get your hands on this, this is great. It's really pricey. It's like $179. I happen to get it at a discount. If you can get it at a discount too, that might, you know, help you enjoy it more, because $179 is a lot to pay for this, but it is cool looking. Thanks for watching.